In our first video, we talked about how to handle the approach of an individual. We're in mental condition yellow, relaxed and alert, and we've seen the approach of the individual. Wonderful. He has not taken us by surprise. We angle ourselves off and we get into the relaxed ready position. You've got quite a bit of room to modify the stance to fit you, but just make sure that you've bladed your center line from him, that you're not facing him, and that your hands have come up, and you have that all-important distancing with him. And one more thing about that distancing, many more things actually in the future about the distancing, but don't get him too far away either. When he gets too far away, I've got to worry about if he's going to access a weapon. I want to be on top of him. So I want him out of arm's reach, and a lot of times I want him out of kicking reach too. You need to think about his feet, and you need to think about his height and his reach, and make it so he's going to have to step at you. Most situations of attack have a confrontational phase. They may not, and you're prepared to deal with that. You see the guy approach, he comes up, he doesn't say anything, and he just walks up to punch you. We can handle that fine. We're going to attack the attacker, as we're going to see on the next video. But in this case, he has, like in most situations, threatened you. He's walked up and he's threatened, and oftentimes you know it as he's approaching. On his approach, he's angry about something, he's had some dispute, or you can tell he's targeted you for some reason. You see his approach. It's very important at this point that you handle this correctly. Naturally, fear is going to come over you at this point. And it's important that you see this for what it is, a very positive thing. You want to be afraid. You want to have that fear energy. You just don't want this thing to run away where you're, I can't handle this is horrible, terrible, what am I going to do? You can handle it. Everything's fine. You're going to be able to take care of this. You're going to learn how. So when that fear energy comes over you, it can feel like you're at a disadvantage and he's not even afraid. And the fact is, he's at a disadvantage. You're afraid for a good reason. You know you're about to go to battle. And you accept the fact that you're going to be injured in the process. And you're going to go after this guy with all you got. If he in fact attacks, remember at this point he hasn't. He's simply beginning to threaten us, and perhaps he's done it from a distance. There is no difference about our stance. We go to relaxed ready. We simply switch from yellow to orange. Now, mental condition yellow is a relaxed alertness, like an animal in the wild. It knows what's around it, but it's comfortable. Condition orange now is there is a specific problem and you think this guy could attack you. And orange could be even less than that. You just have a gut feeling somewhere and you're starting to act on it. But here's a real clear case of mental orange. The guy's walked up and he's threatened you. He's threatened to hit you. Threatened to attack you, or he's just clearly angry at this point. You make the switch from yellow to orange, and he never sees it. So yellow doesn't look like this, and then orange looks like this. Nope. Here I am in yellow, and I've just made the transition to orange. Now I may begin to speak to him at this point, I may not. And if I do speak to him, it's very important what you say to him. Do not threaten the individual who has threatened you. For a number of reasons. Let's just start tactically. It's weak, and it's going to show weakness. Oh yeah, blah, 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 I'll kick your ass. Don't do anything like that. Either keep your mouth shut, which I think is a really good hand, because he's going to wonder what you're thinking. You know, he's threatening you, and you just keep your mouth shut, and you're in relaxed ready, and your eyes are on him, and you're ready to attack if he attacks. But it can be helpful, too, to say things to him that will be helpful to this case. And what I mean by this case is we're hoping to dissuade this guy from attacking us. Obviously, that's the outcome we want. You don't want to fight if you don't have to. It's a last resort. I might tell him something like, please leave me alone. I have a heart condition. I can't fight. Now, that may or may not be true. I actually do have a heart condition, but I would say it whether I had it or not. And the reason I would say it to him would be primarily because I don't want him to attack me and I don't want to fight with him. And if he's at all reasonable, he might realize he's acting like an ass. And he just calms down, or makes a comment to you and walks off or flips you off or something, and that's fine, we'll let him do that. So we're certainly not going to threaten him, and if we're going to say anything to him, we're going to say things to him that are going to perhaps dissuade the situation. And then here's the other thing. We don't want to fight with him, but if he is going to attack us, you are going to have the element of surprise. Imagine some guy walked up to you and threatened. You were already in relaxed, ready. You dropped into it. He started to threaten, and he said, please don't harm me. I have a heart condition. I don't want to fight. And then he suddenly attacked you. Well, first off, you're dealing with a real scumbag predator who would attack somebody with a heart condition. But he's never going to expect it. Now can you imagine, please, I have a heart condition, and explode into this guy and attack him. He's definitely not going to be expecting that. So when the threat phase happens, if it in fact does, because as we talked about, it might not. He might just attack right away. Handle it correctly. Don't say something that's going to get you in trouble. Especially, too, if you were to say something like, look, I don't want to fight, please let me go. You want to retain the mantle of innocence here, that you are, in fact, the defender. If you in any way, shape, or form appear to agree to fight with this guy, you're not going to have any claim for self-defense. And I would define a fight as an agreed-upon event. So naturally, sanctioned fights make sense, MMA, boxing, whatever the case. But if a man walked up to you and said, I ought to kick your ass, and you said, make my day, and then he attacked you, I'm not sure you would have a claim for self-defense. It looked like you provoked him and antagonized him. So you don't want that. You want this guy to go away, and you want this problem to be over with, but if he is going to attack, you want the element of surprise. So one of the keys about relaxed ready is when somebody starts to threaten you, don't get ready. Already be ready. So as soon as he walked up, you were already in relaxed ready. Wonder why this guy's approaching. Now remember, he may have already threatened when he's walking up, but he may not. He may walk up with a smile on his face. Hi, how you doing? He's talking to you. And of course, you're backing up from him, getting distance with him. And then as you're talking to him, you get an odd feeling about it. And even though he hasn't threatened you, you realize, you go to orange. You realize there's a problem here. You're trusting your gut in this case. And remember too, there's no guarantees. There's no teacher anywhere that could tell you that. I can guarantee you you'll be victorious. But if he's going to attack you, attack him back. Not going to threaten him. And remember, being silent could be really good. One of the tips that the swordsman Miyamoto Musashi gave was always encourage the enemy's arrogance. And I always thought that was good advice. Let the guy get an inflated view of himself, and then maybe he'll just go away. That would be a perfect outcome. And if not, encourage his arrogance. Let him wade right in after you. So in today's lesson, we're learning how to deal with the threat now. He's approached and he's threatened. We're not sure if he's going to attack or not, and that's why we haven't tripped the wire yet and gone into the next color, which is red, which is attack the attacker. And that's our next